So the other lesson we want to do today is on 1.4 in the book. Comparing and ordering it. Now, first thing I want to discuss with respect to this lesson is this idea of absolute value. Absolute value. What does it mean? Well, the definition for absolute value is the distance from zero on the number line. Let's think about what that means. So suppose we have a number line. Now I guess all of you are aware that when we put a number line down, it's going to have zero somewhere on it. And to the right of zero are going to be your positive numbers. And then to the left of zero are going to be your negative numbers. Okay? And as a matter of fact, the number line is in order. Completely in order. What I mean is, not just that the positives are on one side and the negatives are on the other side, but anywhere on this number line, a point that's to the right of another point is going to be bigger. That it goes, imagine going this way to infinity. Or you find a spot way, way, way down there on the number line. Every move to the right you make, no matter how small, you're continuously hitting a bigger number as you go. Do you understand what I'm getting at? You see what I mean when I say it's in order? You'll never move to the right and somehow get to a smaller number. You'll always be getting to a bigger number as you move to the right. So let's say that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. And of course, it doesn't end there. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, keeps on going forever. Likewise in the other direction. Now, I want to talk about absolute value though and use this number line as a way of seeing what we're talking about. All right. Suppose I wanted to know what the absolute value of 3 was. Well, what does that mean? The distance that 3 is from 0 on the number line. Well, here's 3. How far is that from 0? 1, 2, 3 units. So the absolute value of 3, and by the way, I didn't say it, but these are called absolute value bars. They're just 2 vertical lines. And we read this, the absolute value of 3. Okay? And what is the absolute value of 3? 3. Why? Because 3 is 3 units away from 0 on the number line. Does that make sense? What about the absolute value of 10? Well, 10's over here somewhere, but if I were to count how far it is from here to 0, aren't I going to get 10? It's going to take 10 jumps back. If I'm at 10, it's going to take 10 jumps back to get to 0. So the absolute value of 10 is 10. What if it was a number, not necessarily a whole number? What about the absolute value of 1.5? Well, here's 1.5. It's 1 whole unit plus a half of a unit away from 0. So its absolute value is 1.5. And I guess it's not hard to see that if you're taking the absolute value of a positive number, it's just going to be that number. You with me on that? Yes. Absolute value bars. So if the number inside here is positive, then the bars have no effect. That number is just going to be the answer. What about the absolute value of -2? Yeah, it is 2. That's right, because how far is this from 0? 1, 2 units. What about the absolute value of negative 5? That's right, because how far are we away from 0? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. So, I guess it doesn't take long to see that when you do an absolute value and the number in there is a negative, it just does away with that negative sign, doesn't it? Do you see that if you take the absolute value of something, there's no way you could get a negative answer? Could you get 0? Yeah, if you were doing the absolute value of 0, you could, right? So you can get 0, but you can't get a negative. Does that make sense? Now, let's talk about, kind of go back to what we said just a few minutes ago, about how the number line is in order. If you're anywhere on it and you move to the right, you will have moved to a bigger number. So if I wanted to know whether one number was bigger or smaller than another number, then if I knew how to graph the numbers on the number line, could I just look and see which one is to the left or which one is to the right and know which is bigger? For instance, suppose I want to make a determination between 1 and 3. In other words, I want to put a symbol in here, either greater, less, well, either greater or less, okay? How do I know which one should go in there? Now, we all know 1 is less than 3, don't we? Right? Those are straightforward. 1 would be less than 3. But we can see it on the number line as well, because here's 1 and here's 3. Which one is to the left? 1. And remember, to the left means smaller. What if we wanted to decide between -1 and -3? That's a little less obvious. Which one of those is bigger?
-1 is bigger.
-1 is bigger because here's -1, here's -3. -1 is to the right of -3. That means it's bigger. So that would be that symbol, correct? So do you see how you can use the number line and the fact that it's well ordered? Just look at the two positions where the numbers are and you can tell which one's bigger just by that, correct? Does that make sense?